Now comes the really hard part. Come on in, welcome to my home, and welcome back to my kitchen, because we're going to talk about something which is really hard for people to do. You've made your list of all the things that you own with the sizes and everything, right? Cool. Now you need to go through it and actually get rid of the things which you don't use. And I mean, you have to be honest. Do you see this conglomeration of stuff on this table? I'm going to explain why it's here and why I'm actually going to be getting rid of, like, most of it. Alright, see these bottles? You notice that these bottles are sort of like those bottles right there. Those bottles are the bottles that I make beer out of, I make kombucha out of. However, I do not like the plastic tops on these bottles. They do not seal very well. So what does that mean? It means I don't use them for anything. If I make beer in them, they go flat. I didn't like them, but yet I kept them. And I never use them. They're just taking up space. So guess what? These have to go. I'm not going to use them. I don't use them. Will I keep one or two? Yes, I will keep one or two, because occasionally if I make things like vanilla or some sort of extract, I will put those in there, but only for emergencies. Then let's talk about this handy dandy thing. I have now had this for 9 years. Let me show you one of my mortal sins. Do you see that there's still the tag on it? Yeah. There's still the tag on it. Do you know what that means? It's never been used. Ever. This thing has never been used. I do not use it whatsoever. Why did I show you that? 8 years. 8 years I've had this, and I've never ever used it. Do you think it's time for it to go? Probably. Then, another one of them. These bowls. Let's talk about these bowls. These bowls are really cool. They match those bowls. I don't use them. I don't use them for anything. I don't even decorate with them. Nothing. Now here's something which I want you to keep in mind. There are a couple different uses. Some of the uses that you will have are visual uses. If you have your stuff in a hutch or you display with it, guess what? You use it. Yes. But if you actually have to climb back over things to get to it and you never touch it, you don't use it. The other thing to remember is that gift that somebody gave you that you've never used, you still are not using it. Don't keep things out of guilt. No. Now, are there some sentimental things that you can keep? Yeah, I'm all for that. If you have something that's really sentimental or something that just holds your heartstrings, keep that. Go ahead. It's all right. Find the space for it. But then I'm also going to tell you, work with it. And we're going to work with those later on, where we display our sentimental items, and I'll show you how you can do that in a way which doesn't take over your house. But seriously, you want to totally get rid of things that you're never going to use. I have baskets. I have lots of baskets. I have too many baskets that I will never use. This basket I do use occasionally for some of my displays and that sort of stuff. These two baskets? Nope. Gotta go. Now, coming down to these pans, this is what's really interesting. Once a year, at Christmas time, we use this pan. We do not use this pan. Should this pan stay? No, it shouldn't stay. In fact, it's actually cracking on the inside, which I find really interesting. So, yeah, go through your stuff and be honest with it. If you don't use it, get rid of it. If you visually use it, keep it. It's okay to keep things that you put out for display. That's the big important part for this week. Purge. Purge what you don't use. If you have clothes that someday you're going to fit into, unless you think that someday's within the next year, probably not. If you have furniture that's just sitting around getting into the way, if it's an antique, sell it. The cool thing about this, you can donate it to local area things. You can sell it. You can give it away to family members. If you have children, you can see if they want it first. Whatever. But this is the big thing now. Go through your stuff and purge it. Now, what's interesting about a lot of my stuff, which is around, since I do a lot of photography, a lot of my stuff does get used, which is nice. But these things, it's time for them to go. Sorry, things. And guess what? They're just things. Now, if I want to remember them, I can take pictures of them and keep them in a scrapbook. Voila, I have things. but it really is time for the purge. So this time, go through your list, get rid of everything that you don't need, and we'll meet back here next week to go over what you're going to do with the stuff that you have. If you have any ideas, comments, or suggestions, let me know down in the comment part. Don't forget to subscribe. Every Wednesday for the next little while, we're going to be talking about getting ready to move into your new home. I am not moving, but my friend Anne is moving, and we're helping her go through her stuff and get rid of it. And this is a really tough thing to do, to sit down and say to yourself, do I actually use it? And it's okay to keep something that you use once a year or twice a year or every 2 years, because a lot of people have rotating family events. And if you're going to get rid of a roadster because you haven't used it in 2 years, but yet the big family event only happens once every 2 years, hold on to it. We'll figure out a way to deal with it. But yes, purge.